Be a rebel, claim your space. My name is Donna and I'm also known as Donetto. One of my biggest passions in life is creativity. I love bold colors and prints. I'm a painter, artist. I love to do photography, videography. I work in marketing and I just love anything that helps me express myself, and I love to express myself with vibrant colors. When I talk about my passions, I have a background in art and I just love anything that is aesthetically pleasing, that really fits in with my palette. And I'm not afraid to mix bold colors and prints. As you can see, I have this citrine couch behind me. That was one of my first major purchases for my apartment, and from that I just created a very bright and bold space based on this color, and it all came together with all the different variations and jewel tones and things of that sort. So with this project, I definitely wanted to spruce up my bathroom, which is it's a medium-sized bathroom. I have really tall ceilings in my apartment. The ceilings are about 10 feet tall. So with my wallpaper design, I really wanted to draw your eye up to the height of the ceiling, just to create a higher dynamic in the space. And I also wanted to go for something bold that I didn't do in the rest of my apartment. All of my apartment walls are white, but I do obviously accent with all the vibrant color that you see behind me. The bathroom, I really wanted to set a completely different vibe and have it be very moody, but also not overpowering. I do have some bold colors choices for the bathroom wallpaper design, but I made it more abstract so that it's not as distracting. There's many parts of it that are focal points to draw your eyes in, but I feel like it balances out between the pinks and the white and the deep blues, so that it's not, the pink isn't too overpowering. It's definitely balanced out by the darker tones in the wall mural. So I'm super excited to show you guys how I transform my bathroom. I started off with all white walls, a white and blue shower curtain, and a blue cabinet because I have a pedestal sink. So you guys are going to be able to see how I completely transform the space from going from bland, safe white walls into this beautiful wall mural. I truly believe that I am at my full extent when I have complete creative control over my space, my ideas, and my projects. Things that I've done to reach my full extent is to really embrace my style and my aesthetic, and not be afraid to go bold and to go bright, because I'm cultivating a space that feels safe and comfortable for me. It's my own home retreat. These colors might not be for everyone, but I really truly love how my space feels with the bright and vibrant colors that I've chosen for my home. So I've definitely had to make some sacrifices when it comes to my space and the types of things that I bring into my home. And I've had quite a transformation. I've been in this same apartment for a few years now, and if you could see where it started up until where I am now, it definitely was a process. It's not something that you can easily just snap your fingers and everything comes together. I definitely do think that it takes time, and it also takes a lot of thought to really cultivate the space that you want to have. So I know with all the HGTV videos and YouTube quick makeover home videos, everybody wants like a quick fix, but your space is really going to feel more like your own if you take the time and only bring in pieces that really spark joy. So you might not have it all come together within the first couple months of moving into somewhere, but as you create your own style and aesthetic, it becomes a lot easier to find pieces that are classic for you and will work with what you have and are high quality that will last you throughout the years. Being a rebel, that means a lot of things. Besides just art, style, things of that sort, growing up, I was a minority in a mostly white community, so I know what it feels like to stand out in a crowd and not feel like you fit in. But as I got older, I realized that standing out is not necessarily a bad thing, and I love that I'm not the same as everyone else, and I have embraced all enrich my hair, which I'm well known for because I started my YouTube channel in a time where Black women were really embracing their natural hair. In America, it wasn't a thing where that was popular. It was more popular to have straight hair and try to fit in with everyone else. Having big, kinky hair was seen as bad hair. But now, being a part of the YouTube space, I'm really happy that I've been able to cultivate and create a shift in culture which makes women and girls much more comfortable in their skin and seeing themselves as beautiful just the way that they are. About a year ago, I got back into painting, and this is my first attempt at using watercolors. As you can see, I wasn't using high quality watercolors at first, and you can really see the difference in those two paintings. So I love vibrant colors, and as you can see, as time progressed, my watercolors improved, but they still were not exactly what I was looking for this bathroom design. So then I stumbled upon alcohol inks, and this is an example of the first time I tried using them out. So it was a little bit of trial and error, trying different techniques to get the alcohol inks moving around and seeing how they blend into each other. These were really fun to work with on a small scale. So these were some of my early designs that I created. That was one of my favorites. And I ended up sending 12 of these designs to Rebel Walls, which is a wallpaper company based in Sweden, and it took a couple months for it to get there. And unfortunately, once they received them, we discovered that these designs were way too small to be reproduced at a large wall mural scale. So now I am just trying alcohol inks in a larger format, which was really new to me, but I do like the technique that I ended up using with the blow dryer. And as you can see, with more practice, my alcohol inks designs improved a lot, I would say. And I just stuck with the color scheme of mostly magenta and cobalt blue. And those are two of my favorite colors because when they mix, they make a really bright fuchsia, which is my favorite shade of purple. So now we're getting into my final design for my wallpaper, and this is the painting that I based the wallpaper on. I did end up combining maybe 2 to 3 different paintings to get the effect that I was looking for. And this was 20 inches by 30 inches. So this is by far the largest alcohol ink that I had done before. And it did prove a little bit difficult to work with these because alcohol inks do dry very quickly. But I was very pleased with the results and happy that it was big enough that I could use it for my bathroom wall mural. And I added some gold in there. And I liked the effect that the gold gave to the cobalt, which made it slightly turquoise once I finished with my complete design. So this is what it looks like halfway dry. And this is what it looked like once I manipulated it with the 2 different designs incorporated into it. As you can see, the slight turquoise color goes really well with the cobalt blue. And of course, we have the magentas and purples as well. And this collaboration was just so much fun to do. So, one of the first things that I did in my bathroom was switch out the hardware from silver to brass. This is brushed brass. And I changed out the toilet paper holder. I changed out the light fixture, which I had to cut a new hole in the wall in order to adjust the light fixture to the height that I would need because the mirror is 4 feet wide. And it was a little bit difficult because, as you can see here, there was a white pipe in between where the wiring was supposed to go between the 2 studs, but I improvised, got some string, and was finally able to pull it behind the white pipe without dropping it back into the wall, because that would be tragic. So, as for the wallpaper, the first step that you're going to have to do is make sure that your walls are clean. So you want to make sure that you wash them. And also make sure that they are completely dry before you start doing the wallpapering. And I just used some wall cleaner spray, which worked really well for me. So the next step is to make the wallpaper paste. The instructions are pretty straightforward. You're just going to combine water with the wallpaper paste and whisk it all together just to make sure you get out all the major chunks in it to make it smooth. And once it's well combined, you're going to let it sit for at least 15 minutes. That's just going to let it thicken up, and in the meantime, you can get to work with your wallpaper panels. So I think the wallpaper that was sent to me had a total of 8 panels. I think I only ended up using 5 and a sliver of a 6th. So they have dotted lines where you're supposed to cut in between the panels, and you want to leave a little bit extra on top so that you can place it as close as you can to the ceiling, and once you have it applied, you can go back through with a box cutter and just cut off the excess. So one thing I do want to mention about the wallpaper rolls is, I don't know if you are noticing the way that I'm rolling it with a wallpaper design on the outside. That is incorrect. You want to roll them back up with the wallpaper design on the inside. That way when you're applying it, it's a lot easier to roll it down and smooth it out without getting any of the wallpaper paste onto the actual designed side of the wallpaper, if that makes sense. So next you're going to want to take a piece of the panel, I just used the very top part, and measure out and mark with a pencil the width of the wallpaper panel. And you only have to do this for the very first panel. This is just to make sure that it's completely straight. You want to use a level to ensure that it's straight, because every panel that's applied after this is going to be flush with the first one. So if you mess up the first one, then the rest of them are going to be crooked. So this step is very important. I just used a ruler to mark all the way down the wall so that I had a visual the entire way down to make sure that I did it correctly. And I will say that the first 2 panels, it's a little bit of a learning curve. You guys can learn from my mistakes so you don't do the same thing as I did. But honestly, once you get the first 2 panels on, it's super easy. I think it only took me about maybe 5 to 10 minutes per panel for the rest, once I did it correctly. So you're going to want to start off putting a paintbrush with the glue near the ceiling and near the corner, and then afterwards you're going to go over that same area with the roller and make sure that you use a lot of the paste. I made the mistake of not using enough, and I had lifting, and I had a gap in between the first 2 panels, so I ended up having to take it down and redo it the next day. So yeah, just make sure that you use an ample amount of the glue. You have more than enough, so you don't have to worry about running out. And also make sure that you use the roller on 1.5 times the size of those, 1.5 times the width of the wallpaper roll, just to make sure that when you play, you already have excess glue down when you're about to start the next panel. So like I said, you have a little bit of excess paper on the top. That's to ensure you can line it up flush with the ceiling, and also line it up directly with the line that you've already created. And then you're going to slowly unroll the paper and smooth it out with a scraper to get rid of any of those air pockets that you can see there. You want to make sure that you smooth it out and I had a little bit of difficulty here. Here's where you can see things go wrong. Because of my door frame, the trim was about 1 inch from the corner, which made it really hard for me to align the wallpaper, and that was a mistake of me dropping it, because once I dropped it, the bottom kind of already stuck to the wall, which made it very difficult to adjust the upper part of the wallpaper, which led to the reason why I had to redo it the next day. Another thing I want to note is when you are cutting the wallpaper around light fixtures or anything on your wall, go slowly, and also make sure that less is more. Don't cut too much, because if you cut too much, there's no going back after that. I made that mistake the first time, and the second time I got it right. So after you have the wallpaper panel applied, you're going to go back over it with a wet sponge, and that's what's going to really activate the glue underneath. So you can see here how the second roll was a lot easier once I lined it up with the first, but because I didn't use enough glue on the first panel, you see that little gap right there? That's a string over on the other side, but right there you can see the line, and that's not good. So now it's the next day and I have to remove the wallpaper, which surprisingly was a lot easier than I anticipated. It literally, maybe because I didn't use enough glue, but it was not that difficult to pull off. It didn't leave any residue on the wall, and it didn't mess up the drywall. Honestly, I probably could have reused that same panel, but lucky for me, Rubble Walls actually sent me 2 rolls of the same design, so I just opened the second roll and cut off the first panel to redo this. As you can see now, since I've already done the rest of the wall, I've had some practice, and it really was a lot easier this time around to make sure that the wallpaper was flush with the second one, and I didn't drop it this time. So yeah, no line, you can't even see where the 2 panels connect, and that's exactly how you want it to look. You hear me now?
Yeah, there, I can hear you.
I started switching these switches. So I got this one done because I just put the cords where the other ones were connected. But then I have this switch with a dimmer, and then it has different colored wires, and I don't know where they go. I know this one with the tag I'm not supposed to use because that's for a 3-way switch.
Looks like a junction box. There's more. It goes to that, goes to the light switch, then it goes to the fan switch.
Yeah.
Okay, when you put that switch in, there's a screw at the top and the bottom, right?
Yeah.
Alright, I think you put that, you wrap it around the screw to the box. That grounds it to the box.
What does that mean?
It's a metal box, right?
Yeah, but how come this one doesn't have it?
I have no idea.
So would I have to use it?
Well, you got it. I would put it to the screw on the box there.
On this part?
Yeah. It's a metal screw, metal box, and then that would ground it to that screw. It just needs to be under the cover.
No, I know. So it can be on the outside of this one then.
Yeah. As long as it's touching the screw that's into the metal box.
Okay.
Then it's grounded. Like on top of that, you can wrap it around the screw and then put the screw through the hole right there. That's fine.
Okay, I'll try that then.
Okay, give me a holler back, let me know what happened.
Okay, thanks.
Don't touch anything metal while you're doing this once you turn that switch on.
So the way that I'm reclaiming my bathroom is I just really want it to have a very moody feel with a clean aesthetic. So even though I'm going very bold on the wallpaper design, I'm keeping everything else simple. I'm not having a lot of things on the countertops. I'm getting rid of the medicine cabinet and having a very large mirror just to create more space and to reflect the light that I do have in the bathroom more. And I really think that this is going to give me a much better use of space and just make me super excited to enjoy getting ready in the morning and taking bubble baths at night. The way that I take control of my time and my way of living is that every day I want to have some time to really dedicate to myself and for self-care. So I love to take morning walks right around sunrise on Lake Michigan. It's beautiful and the sun shining on my face just really brightens up my mood. Even when it's cold outside, it's still nice to feel the sun beating on your face. I also like to take long bubble baths, which is going to be made even better with my updated bathroom. It's just one of those things that I like to do to wind down at the end of the day, light some candles, maybe have a glass of wine, and just relax and reflect. You know, a lot of times everybody's really into the minimalist living and all white everything, and while I do enjoy the clean look of those types of style, it just doesn't have the character that I'm looking for in the type of space that I want to cultivate. Your space is a reflection of you, and during this pandemic, with most people having to work from home or spending a lot more time at home, it only makes sense that you're going to focus on improving your space and making it the place that you really want to be, especially when we are all confined to our homes. We just want to make it more enjoyable and get the most use out of your space.
So next up we have plumbing, because like I said, I changed out all of the silver fixtures to brushed brass, and this was very difficult. The beginning was was a little bit hard. I got everything apart only to realize that some of the sink pipes were old and corroded, so I had to go to Home Depot to buy new ones. And then once I got the faucet together, I realized I couldn't get the drain, but luckily I had a little help.
I also designed the shower curtain, which I incorporated some of the same colors in the wallpaper. I pulled it in so that when you look at it, which you can't see right now, but when you're looking into the mirror, you still have some of the colors from the wallpaper reflected behind you, but it's not overpowering. It's just a little sample of the colors and the design from the wallpaper just to bring everything together.
So now I'm going to show you how I made the chains to attach to the hooks and attach to the shower curtain and liner. So these are like the dog tag chains, if that makes sense. I cut them to 14 inches. I applied one of those end pieces in order to hook the clip on the bottom. I pinched it together to make sure it was secure, and then on the top I opened up a ring to add to the other side, and then added that to the top loop that goes onto the curtain rod. Tightened it back up so that, you know, everything was secure. That's how the finished chain hooks look. And I think I did 14 or 16 of them total. Next up, I am going to use a grout pen on these ugly dark gray grout lines. So the first step is to use a strong grout cleaner to make sure it is completely clean, and afterwards you apply the grout pen directly to the grout lines. And at first I was very skeptical when I started. I was like, I wish I didn't start because it looked terrible, but after 3 coats it looks great. Easy fix. And this was my mood board originally that showed all of the different pieces I wanted to bring together.
So now that I have my space complete, I'm just loving how everything turned out and came together. The bold statement I made with this wallpaper just brings a huge smile to my face every time that I use my bathroom. I just love how vivid the colors are and the texture, and it just brings a lot more life into this bathroom, especially when you see what it looked like before and after. It definitely draws your eye up. And also I love that for the light, you can adjust the brightness so you can create a mood. Yeah, I'm just loving everything. I'm just so happy with how my wallpaper turned out. I never used wallpaper before, and I think a lot of times what turns people off is that they have this idea in their mind of wallpaper probably from like the 1950s when you watch HGTV makeover shows, and it's very hard to take off the wall. As you know, I have the clip that I showed you guys before when I had to redo this first panel over here because it didn't line up correctly. Super easy to remove. All you have to do is use soap and water and then peel the wallpaper off. Your walls will be perfectly fine. It doesn't leave on any sticky residue or anything behind, and it's just a super easy way and effective way to add a little life to your space, switch it up, and create a whole new vibe. To bring it all together, I did switch out the fixtures. Originally, they were all silver fixtures like the faucet, the toilet paper holder, the shower head, and faucet. And I switched that out. Also the electrical plates. I had to figure out how to do the electrical. And I switched it all out to have gold accents to just bring in, tie in the gold in the wallpaper with the brass of the mirror and some of my other pieces that I brought into the space, like the light above has brass as well. So yeah. Definitely a daily retreat now. I love taking baths. I love using my shower. It definitely has improved water pressure. I love this mirror, brings in a lot of light. It also creates a lot more space. It's 4 feet wide, which is extremely large and very heavy. I almost broke my back trying to put it up. But I do love how it works really well with the space, and it cuts up, even though it's on the wallpaper, I do love that it gives it a little bit of a interruption in the wallpaper, if you will, so it's not too busy. But I just love I love the colors that I chose, and I love how they all kind of go together. Let me know what was your favorite part of this makeover. Did you like the accents that I chose, the light, the mirror? Would you do white rugs in your bathroom? These are definitely the memory foam rugs, which are super comfortable. And yeah, another thing I do love is with my shower curtain, I made sure that I got it, I believe it's 8 feet long, because I have 10 feet ceilings. And just from experience with regular curtains, which these are actual sheer curtains that I made into a shower curtain, it always helps to elevate your space and create more height in your space by hanging curtains as close as you can to the ceiling. And with the shower curtain, I hung it from these chains just so that it would have a little bit of a gap, because there's not a light directly over the shower, and I wanted to be able to let in a little bit of natural light so that it's not too dark in there, but I did want to have the look of it extending all the way up to the ceiling. And then the reason why I picked the sheer curtains that I designed was because, like I said, there's not a light directly over there. The window doesn't shed any light into the shower, so I figured with the white shower liner behind the sheer curtains, it basically would make them look opaque, but still sheer enough so that you can get light through the sheer curtains and the white liner. And it definitely did work exactly how I had planned it to. I just love it. I love everything about it, and I'm so excited that I got to work with Rebel Walls to create this piece, and I hope you guys will check them out and check check out my design, which will be on sale on their website. So if you like this and you like any of my other designs, let me know. I know some of you guys were keeping up for my original designs up until now, and you guys are really excited to see which wallpaper I chose and how it all came together. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed my makeover, and I will definitely see you guys in my next video.